not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to summarize again. Public comment, again, the purpose of public comment period is to give our community an opportunity to provide input directly to the school board about issues, of course, the issues regarding pupil non-discrimination and district facility use, and to give direct input to the school board. Also, to fulfill this purpose, comments must be directed to the school board. Public comment is not a time for citizens to speak to the community or to the audience. Written request to speak. Individuals who wanted to speak during this comment session, you were to register your intentions at the beginning of the meeting upon arriving, and those permitted to speak will be limited to, as you know, district residents, with preference given to staff, students, and parents. Speakers must be recognized. I will be calling speakers to the microphone. I'll be stacking it so we can speed this up, and we'll be naming the person that's going to be up. The second one will be on deck, and we'll keep alternating so that we aren't spending time having people running up and down the aisle and wasting time. Again, you'll be recognized by me at that time and when you're ready to speak. The time limits, as were set out in the special meeting, was that this would be held for 60 minutes total. The time limit is necessary, again, in order for the school board, so we are able to conduct business during the meeting in an orderly, efficient, and timely manner. Each speaker is permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes in total. You'll be given a 30-second warning, and then when the 3 minutes is up. One speaker may not give your time to another speaker, and any person who does not get a chance to speak is encouraged to submit written comments to the school board following this meeting. Cumulative presentations, we just encourage you to avoid repeating comments that other speakers have made. It's not helpful, and it deprives other individuals the opportunity to speak. We only have so much time, and it looks to be there's more people listed than we have time for. General rules, as a reminder, speakers may not engage in the following conduct, may be ruled out of order to speak during public comment. These rules, speakers may not discuss or disclose any private educational data on any current or former student. The only exception is that a parent who is speaking may choose to disclose or discuss private educational data on his or her own child. Speakers may not make allegations, charges, or complaints against any specific or identifiable student or employee. If a person wishes to make an allegation or file a charge or complaint against a student or employee, they should make that allegation, charge, or complaint to the superintendent in writing or in a private meeting, or another individual designated in the district policy to receive the complaint. Speakers may not make personal attacks against others, including but not limited to any student, parent, community member, employee, or school board member. Speakers may not make comments that are defamatory or that would violate federal or state law, including laws protecting the privacy and rights of an individual. Members of the public may not engage in conduct that disrupts any part of the school board meeting or that otherwise impedes the school board's ability to conduct its business in an orderly and efficient manner. Speakers may not make comments or gestures that are threatening, profane, lewd, vulgar, obscene, harassing, or abusive. So with that, I have Ella.
Mr. President,
Yes.
point of order, I'm seeking to recognize to make a motion.
What is your motion?
I'd like to extend the talking time.
Yep. Did you get that?
So that is a motion to extend the public comment time. Do we have a second?
Come on, guys.
By an hour.
We have a motion and a second to extend the comment period by 1 extra hour, which is going to be 2 hours total. Any other discussion? None heard. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Let's have a motion for our state representative to speak.
The first speaker is Ella. If you take the closest microphone, Ella is one of our students. Next person on deck is Jessica Turner, if she wants to go to this mic. And I'm going to go ahead and list the next two so we get next one will be Gabby. And the next individual will be Roxanne Jorsted. So we should have two on deck on each side, or two on each side. There you go. All right, Ella.
Hello, my name is Ella Fry, and I'm a junior at Richmond High School. I'm honestly really nervous to stand here tonight. I never thought I'd have to speak at a school board meeting about something like this. I'm here because I'm scared and I don't know what else to do. When I first found out that biological boy was using the girls' bathroom, I felt uncomfortable, then I felt anxious, and then embarrassed. And now I mostly just do fear. That fear is so strong that most days I don't use the bathroom at school anymore. I hold it in all day until I get home. I know that's not healthy. I know it can cause problems like infections, and that scares me too. But I feel like I have no other choice. The office did tell me I could ask for a single stall bathroom pass, but even that is really stressful. I feel nervous walking into the office and asking for it. I feel worried and that people are judging or thinking I'm causing problems. It makes me feel singled out and embarrassed just for wanting privacy. There are also things girls go through physically that boys can't. There are certain times in the month when girls genuinely need to use the bathroom more than often. That is just a part of being female. Having to manage that while also worrying about a boy being in the bathroom is humiliating and stressful in a way that is really hard to explain unless you are a girl. I am 16, I am a junior, I'm older, and this is still really overwhelming for me. I keep thinking about the freshman girls in the underclassmen, and I've talked to younger girls who are terrified to use the bathroom. Some of them are even getting bullied or made fun of because they feel uncomfortable. That is not fair, and it really hurts to see the school not stepping in to stop that. This is also difficult for me because of my faith. I believe God created man and woman differently and intentionally. My beliefs don't matter. I'm also an athlete. I love sports. I work really hard, and I worry about what these policies could mean for girls' sports safety in the future. But honestly, the biggest thing I want to say tonight is this. Girls should not have to stand in front of the adults and beg to feel safe at school. That should always be guaranteed. Not in situations where we feel scared, embarrassed, or ignored. I'm asking you, please listen to the girls in this district. Please protect our privacy, our safety, and our dignity, because right now, a lot of us feel like we are being forgotten. Thank you.
Can you hear me? My name is Jessica Turner. I'm a student in the high school. I actually have 6 students throughout the district. I think it's safe to say that we, the parents of the children in the New Richmond School District, are here tonight because our repeated concerns have been ignored, and families are losing trust in the board's leadership. We have shown up to meetings, written emails, and have asked questions, and we have been met with silence, deflection, and policy language instead of leadership. Tonight, I am here to speak for the girls in our high school and for all of our daughters who are paying attention to what the adults in the room choose to protect. This is not about hate, this is not about bullying, this is about boundaries, privacy, and dignity. Girls deserve spaces that are reserved for girls. Those spaces exist for a reason. Teenage girls are vulnerable. They are navigating puberty, body image, and social pressure. The answer to their discomfort never should be, you need to move or you need to adjust. My daughter had the courage to say that she was uncomfortable while using the girls' bathroom with a boy in there. That took bravery, that should have been respected. Instead, she was told that if she felt uncomfortable, she should use a single-stall bathroom. Why is this burden placed on our girls who are simply trying to use the space that has always been designed for them? Why are we teaching girls that when they express discomfort, they are the ones who need to move, adjust, or make themselves smaller? If a student needs accommodations, that is exactly what private single-stall restrooms are for. Those spaces exist to provide privacy and dignity for anyone who needs them. But by telling girls, your discomfort is convenient, so you need to move, is the wrong message. We should be teaching our children that it is okay to speak up, that their boundaries matter, that they will not be punished for being honest and uncomfortable. Right now, the message being sent is the opposite. Be quiet, adapt, and carry the emotional burden so adults have to make the hard decision. That's not okay with me. Not as a parent, not as a woman, and not as someone raising daughters. Who deserve to feel safe without having to apologize for it. Leadership is about drawing lines when it's uncomfortable. Leadership is about standing up for the most vulnerable students in care. That includes teenage girls. Deal with this now so our daughters don't have to in 20 years.
If you would please, I have Roxanne Jorstad. On deck is Gabby and Chad Schwenke, and Carrie Pitt. So the next three people on deck. Roxanne?
I stand here asking, who decided this was okay? Who is responsible for allowing a male-born student in the ladies' restroom and locker room? As a community, we need to fix this. How do we build trust and respect when trust was abused? No notification or input was sought from parents. Power has been misused in our world, our state, our county, our community, our schools. It is time for true leaders to stand for moral values. When you have a force trying to turn creation against the creator through gender, economy, science, faith, fake news, you get division. And here we are, divided, asking for sanity. Today's overreaching wokeism must stop. You have a single-stall bathroom option here. However, the way it is being implemented at our schools supports child grooming. And it started with destroying the family unit. I do not consent to the New World Order. My heart goes out to the gay, lesbian, trans of today. Nobody has ever been born in the wrong body. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. God created male and female. It is man. It is man who harms God's children. Your government, your healthcare system, your pharmaceutical systems, your toxic food system, television, and many elements of society, which includes education, that is pushing grooming of children and choose who you want to be. Google says you can pick from 72 genders. Who embraces this garbage? Unfortunately, messing with DNA in our world is real. And these are crimes against humanity that will not go unpunished. Satan's rainbow is 6 colors. God's rainbow is 7. You are a role model for our children. I call on the school board and administration to find common ground through moral values. To the school corporate council and those defending ideology, extremism, depriving women of their dignity, safety, and well-being, it has no place in God's republic or our state.
Next, we have the audience in the chat, she hand that over.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabby, and I just wanted to let everyone know that I am a woman at the Richmond High School who uses the women's bathroom, and I ask that you hear my perspective. As a woman, I am not afraid to use the bathroom with someone who is transgender. While fear around violence in bathrooms is totally valid, potential worries about what could happen in the bathroom are misplaced. Trans people are not scary or pedophiles. They are our community members. And in this case, a child who, like anyone else, just wants to use the bathroom. Thank you.
Carrie Pitt. And next on deck is going to be Carter. Over here. Carter here, Carrie here. Carrie here.
First, is this okay? Yeah. All right. Thanks very much. First of all, I want to thank the board for having this opportunity for everybody to be heard. I think it shows a lot of patience and courtesy in what's a pretty tough environment. I just have some observation that board members are chosen typically in nonpartisan races, and most of them continue that nonpartisanship, but they all have to follow state and local law. And I was really happy to hear the information about what the dangers of potential lawsuits could do to the financial footing of the district. I'm assuming, I want everybody to think about the big picture regarding the school district of Richmond. We have excellent facilities and programs. Our boards have done a good job managing the budget despite years of state funding not keeping pace with inflation. I'm assuming that everyone here, including the school board, wants what's best for students. That won't happen if the conversation continues to mirror angry, hateful, and threatening conversation that's been going on social media. I've attended a lot of school board and other public meetings over the years. The best solutions never come from increasing the volume or resorting to personal attacks. I spent 32 years teaching young people in Amory and Richmond. The students I knew were resilient and placed a high value on fairness. If we cooperate to find the best possible resolution to the current issue, they will accept it, move forward, and continue a normal school year. Isn't that what we all should want?
Next we go Carter, and then we have Brittany, and we're writing McKenna. And maybe? Go ahead, Carter.
Hi, my name is Carter, and I'm a senior at Richmond High School. I ask that as each of you are contemplating different views tonight, please recall that the core of this issue is school policy and transparency, not transgender validity. In the past week, many LGBTQ students and transgender students especially felt more isolated and targeted than ever, with hate spreading across social media and school grounds, framing the identities of teenagers discovering who they are as a threat to safety. There is already extensive evidence of how our transgender friends and family are facing barriers, exclusion, and stigmatization in everyday life, and some people here are choosing to intensify this. Please remember that we all value safety, respect, and a supportive school environment. Thank you.
All right.
Tom Wolf. And next on deck will be Josie. Student, Josie.
Yeah, my name is Tom Wolf. I'm a 33-year resident of the Richmond School District. I've had 4 kids and 4 grandkids that have graduated from the Richmond School District. So I had pre-written some notes here. I think some of this may be covered even by the attorney and whatnot, but I'm going to follow my plan. In 1972, President Richard Nixon signed Title IX into law. There's no doubt if he knew what Title IX was today, he would have never signed it in 1972. There's no mention about transgender individuals or gender identity, probably because it didn't exist back then. Actually, I was a sophomore in high school in 1972, and I don't recall anything even remotely close to that. Title IX was passed to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex in programs receiving federal funding, focusing on ensuring equal opportunity for women and girls. Since then, it has been gutted by greedy attorneys, woke politicians, and incompetent doctors and therapists. Women and girls. Today, it actually discriminates against them. It is completely false. Last year, the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights founded the Denver Public School District in violation of Title IX for converting a girls' restroom to an all-gender facility by allowing males into the facility. They now are in jeopardy of losing tens of millions of dollars in federal funding. The only reason they haven't is because that money was already allocated. But next year it could be different. Last week in New York, a 22-year-old woman won a $2 million lawsuit against her doctors and therapists. She sued them for medical malpractice after they cut off her breast when she was 16, after telling her she could become a boy. She won the first ever lawsuit against the doctors who did this to her. I think that's going to open a whole can of worms. Another young lady who is now 21 years old is suing her doctors and therapists. She said, quote, "We were lied to by doctors, nurses, and therapists when we were vulnerable and confused children. They did irreversible harm to our bodies and our minds, making a mockery of the medical profession. They should be held accountable for sacrificing us in service to radical transgender ideology. I will probably never stop needing physical and mental health because of what they have done to me." I had a couple more paragraphs, but I just...
You have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds.
The interpretation of sex under Title IX is still being contested by left-wing groups. Under the Trump administration, several court rulings and executive actions have attempted to restore sanity to Title IX by limiting the interpretation to biological sex as it was originally intended. So, does our Board of Education want to uphold a totally broken and gutted law with the threat of losing millions of dollars in federal funding? Or do you want to stand up for what is right for our kids in our schools?
We have Josie next. We have Sarah Shore, I believe it is, on deck, as well as Heather Burner. Josie.
Good evening. My name is Josie Went, and I'm a sophomore at Richmond High School. I'm the oldest of 4 girls in my family, and I'm also an athlete. And I'm here today to share my concern as a student, an athlete, and an older sister. The thought of a biological male and women's bathroom and locker room is frightening to me. The bathroom and the locker room is a very private place for me to be able to feel safe without the fear of a male entering. It's a very vulnerable space, and girls of this age especially have a hard enough time changing in front of their peers or teammates. I realize that the school board must operate under the law and that this change would have to be made under a higher level. But now what needs to be discussed and addressed is what can be done right now to protect the safety and privacy of hundreds of students, as well as the safety of the students that identify as a gender other than their biological. According to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, 43% of women experience some form of contact sexual violence in their lifetime. Approximately 1 in 5 women in the U.S. reported completed or attempted rape at some point in their life. The majority of these female victims first experienced such victimization early in life, with an 81% reporting that it first occurred prior to the age of 25. And among these female victims, 43% reported that it first occurred prior to the age of 18. It's easy to talk about shared vulnerable spaces until an incident occurs. How will you monitor which men get to use the girls' bathroom? And do you have a way to say no to the ones that have the wrong motives for wanting to enter my privacy? Once biological men can go into the women's areas designated for privacy, that space is no longer a risk-free environment. This stage is far enough already. Outside of the privacy and potential safety violations, the burden should not be shouldered by the majority. This is not meant to dismean those students that identify outside of their biological gender, but it is not feasible for all of those students who are uncomfortable with your policy to use the single-stall bathroom in the principal's office. There is already barely enough time to use the bathroom in between classes, and it would be even more difficult for the large number of students that are uneasy with these allowances to use the restroom without being tardy or disrupting class time. We've heard passionate opinions about what is right and what is wrong, but I would like to know the options moving forward that don't result in legal ramifications for our school, that maintain a sense of modesty and decency for all students, regardless of which anatomy they have. I would like you to present viable options soon to the families of Richmond that will allow me, my classmates, and eventually my younger sisters to feel safe in these spaces designed for privacy. Thank you.
Okay, and again, Heather Brunner, you want to take the microphone over here and get on deck for the next presentation. Go ahead.
I'm really nervous to see my paper shaking here, but this is a topic that is very important. I think we can all agree that no matter what side. And it means a lot to me that we handle this situation. But after being at the last board meeting and being here, what's weighing on my heart is how we handle it, because I think that's also important. So if I scale it down, my husband and I, we have 6 kids, and we both want what is best for them, but sometimes what we believe is best isn't always the same, or the same, but how we get there looks different. Or sometimes even the way we get there looks the same, but we have outside forces that are standing in the way. But when we lose sight of the fact that we both want what's best for our children, doing what is best for them gets more difficult. I don't assume the best intent if I make assumptions on what my husband wants by misinterpreting his words, or assumptions to explain the silence when he doesn't talk. If I call names or threaten him, I'm creating a space where we no longer on the same team. I put my husband in a place where he would have to defend himself, and that takes us out of the end goal. And our kids pay that price. So if we scale it back, there are hundreds of parents here invested in doing what we think is best for our kids. I also believe that you school members are not here because you don't want, or actually because you don't want what's best. You think this is important, and serving is important as well. So I guess I'm asking all of us, can we please look at this like we're on the same team? We might have different ideas on what is best and how to get there, and we're definitely dealing with outside sources. But we want what's best for these kids. So can we go into this assuming best intent? Can we work to create a safe place to address the situation and work towards a solution that meets all of our needs? Can we look at the facts and full assumptions, be mindful of what we're saying, we'll talk to each other with grace, leaving accusation, name calling, and threats behind? Can we look at the roadblocks as what they are? Another fact that we have to be mindful of. Whether it's Title IX rules dictating how we run these meetings, or laws that affect what information we can even share. We might firmly believe how things should be, and we might be right about that, but we also have to look at the facts regardless of whether or not it lines up with our goals. Because we have to navigate that as well. So can we give each other grace, as we're not only navigating the situation, but the forces that affect how we get there. I'm asking this because I'm worried that we're all going to get so caught up in the fight, or feeling like we have to defend ourselves, that we're no longer being effective. And this is too important for that. We're on the same team, we want what's best for these kids. So let's please treat each other the way let's please treat each other that way, because I believe if we don't, it's our kids that are going to pay that price.
No other burner? All right. Next up will be Grant, one of our students. And next on deck on this side will be Tom Marco. Go ahead.
Hello, school board. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for any board members and audience members who have been respectful and follow the rules of this board and the meeting throughout our entire time here. The purpose of my speaking today is mostly to share my experience as a student body member, as well as some facts about sexual assaults. Firstly, as for my experience here, many students, many close friends of mine do not feel safe coming to this board meeting, not just going to bathrooms at school, but coming here to show their support for trans people and for their own rights. Basically, they are too afraid to even come and speak publicly or to sit in the audience members. Also, from other students I've heard on social media, that there have been death threats from both students and adults against queer individuals around the district. In addition to lots of other verbal abuse throughout school. I believe that this does not create an environment conducive to learning and endangers all of our students in their learning. In addition, I'd like to share that according to the National Library of Medicine, as for gender identity, sexual assault is highest among transgender people, 20.9%, followed by cisgender women, 8.6%, and lowest among cisgender men, 3.6%. These statistics can show that it is in fact usually transgender people who have higher rates of sexual assault against them. And I was not able to find any studies on the rates of transgender individuals doing the sexual assaulting. But there have been many cases where those individuals convicted of it have longer sentences and discriminated against in the legal system. Altogether, what this can say is transgender students are the ones, although it is very reasonable to be concerned for your children and your kids, it is also important to look at the queer youth and the transgender youth who are experiencing much higher rates of suicide, much higher rates of depression, and other things caused by verbal abuse and harassment, which has been happening online because of the issues about tonight.
John Mondor, Jerry Sullivan on deck, and then Elijah. Mr. Mondor.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I very much appreciated hearing everyone's views on the matter. And I'd just like to mention that the United States, this republic, is built on this type of discourse, so I appreciate it. I want to start by grounding this conversation when action matters. We're talking about children. Every student in this school, regardless of race, religious affiliation, or gender identity, deserves safety, dignity, and the ability to attend school without becoming a political symbol or a public target. And also recognize that middle school students experience privacy. My son's in middle school. And discomfort very differently than adults. Feeling uncomfortable in an intimate space does not automatically make a child wrong or malicious. But responding to discomfort by singling out other students, restricting access, or creating isolation does not resolve the issue. It simply creates exclusion. I would like to speak directly to the safety concerns that have been raised, both here today and online. Multiple peer-reviewed studies and policy reviews from major medical and public safety organizations have found no evidence that inclusive restroom access policies increase sexual assaults or other safety incidents when access is based on gender identity. At the same time, research consistently shows that hostile rhetoric, public targeting, and exclusionary practices are associated with higher rates of harassment, absenteeism, anxiety, and mental health risks for transgender students. This is not ideology, but verifiable evidence from school climate and behavioral health researchers. Schools exist to educate and protect students, not to referee cultural or political battles. Our policy should be written to ensure that no child's identity becomes the focus of public meetings, hallway gossip, or online speculation. There have been comments suggesting that students are unsafe or implying criminal or predatory intent related to this issue. I want to be very clear. We are talking about children. Publicly or implicitly framing a child as a threat causes real, documented harm and creates an environment of fear that parents and schools have responsibility to prevent.
Yes.
If the goal is safety and comfort for all students, then the response should be practical and evidence-based. The solution here is not to take rights away from one group to comfort another. The solution should be to improve privacy and clarity for all. The district should seriously consider upgrading restroom infrastructure with enhanced privacy features such as full height or floor-to-ceiling stall doors, or unisex bathrooms for all. These designs are already used successfully in many schools and public spaces. They improve comfort, reduce anxiety, discourage inappropriate behavior, and benefit all students regardless of gender identity. This is long-term common sense investments in students' dignity and not a political statement.
Jerry Sullivan. Not seen. Okay, Elijah.
My name is Elijah. I'm 13 years old and currently attend Richmond Middle School. I am an 8th grader and will be going to high school soon. I have a sister who goes to my school also. I have two things I want to talk about: God and morality. I want to speak on God first. Our country has always been built on the foundation of God. Our forefathers believed in God. God has always been what we believe in. I know my Bible says women are women and men are men. God created us the way we are and we can't change that. No matter how many surgeries or whatever they are called, people will always be what God created them to be. Genesis 2:18-24 talks about how man needed a partner, so God created women. Verse 23 says, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman." So it is clear that man and women are two different genders. They are not the same, they are separate. Morality means principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong. I am bold in my standpoint against boys being in girls' restroom. Everyone has a common morality. Everyone knows it is wrong to murder, and everyone knows it is wrong to steal. There is a common morality that has already been said. Girls aren't allowed in boys' restrooms, and boys don't belong in girls' restrooms. This separation has existed from the start. It is the state's and the school's responsibility to keep children safe at school. Parents can trust you with their kids. There has been accounts of women and girls being raped inside restrooms. My sister is scared to change in the locker room. Why put kids in that position? I have had tons of accounts where I've had an account where a girl has tried to come into my locker room being a boy. Some accounts where things have happened. Inside, VA judge finds transgender teen guilty of sexual assault in Mount County High School girls' bathroom rooms. Another transgender student flashed 4 female girls in their locker room after a swim class in Wisconsin. Oklahoma transgender student charged with assaulting female high school classmates in bathroom. Transgender Wyoming woman convicted of sexually assaulting 10-year-old girl in the bathroom. Teenage girl was terrified in locker room with naked transgender women. Transgender suspected threatens to rape Christian girls, inject HIV in people wearing crosses, copycat natural shooting veterans. Male inmate convicted of raping female at Rikers Island Women's Facility. Thank you.
My name is Jerry Sullivan.
Thank you.
Hoping to be a voice of reason. Resident of New Richmond School District. Father of 4, 2 girls, 2 boys. Alex, Ann, Tanya, and John. My father and mother, Jerry and Tess, raised a total of 8 girls and 3 boys. Their parents, my grandparents, raised 14 girls and boys. None of our parents or grandparents had to consider or voice an opinion in any vote in their lifetime. There were no debates. I pray that the right decisions and common sense are found. The highest court in this nation, the Supreme Court, is considering the rights and legal ramifications for boys and girls. Right now, there are policies, laws, bills, statutes, maybes, could have been, would have, should have, maybes, and the proverbial roll of the dice. These things only shower this topic with doubt, confusion, and a very, very dim light. I believe we all agree that we are one nation under God. Hebrews 13:8 says, He is the same today, yesterday, and forever. This should be our standard. This should be a voice of reason. Thank you.
Beth Wood, Maya, is Beth Wood here?
I will yield to one of the kids.
Okay.
Can't give away your time.
Then Alex, maybe Maya, Alex on deck, and is it Juan Rivera on deck over here?
Good evening. My name is Maya Osba, and I'm a junior at Richmond High School. The way that this problem has been dealt with has given me nothing but embarrassment and a loss of hope for change. Today I want to talk about the issue that affects many students' sense of comfort and safety at school: biological boys using the girls' restroom. Bathrooms are a private place. They are places where people are expected to feel safe, relaxed, not worried on who might walk in on them. For many girls, the girls' bathroom is one of the few places and at the school where they can have privacy. When boys use that space, even if it's meant as a joke or a convenience, it can make girls feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or disrespected. This isn't about hating anyone or trying to be unfair, it's about boundaries. Schools have separate bathrooms for a reason: to respect privacy and make sure everyone feels secure. When those boundaries are ignored, it can cause stress, fear, and confusion, especially for the younger students. Everyone deserves to feel safe at school. That includes the girls who want privacy, and the boys also deserve clear rules and appropriate spaces. The solution isn't chaos or blaming each other, it's respect. Respect for rules, respect for personal space, and respect for how our actions affect others. What might seem harmless to one person can feel invasive or unsafe to someone else. Many girls feel uncomfortable speaking up in the moment, which makes the problem even harder to address. Schools have separate bathrooms for a reason. These rules exist to protect personal boundaries and help everyone feel secure. When girls are speaking up about this issue, we get told to use a different bathroom. How do you think this makes us girls feel? When those boundaries are ignored, it sends a message that some people's comfort doesn't matter. That can lead to anxiety, loss of trust, and a feeling that the school is not a safe place. It's also important to recognize that respect goes both ways. Boys deserve their own private spaces too, just as girls do. Clear rules help everyone know what's expected to prevent misunderstandings or conflicts. Where rules are followed, school becomes a more respectful environment for all students. In the end, this issue comes down to empathy and respect. We all want to feel safe at school. We all want our boundaries to be respected. By thinking about how the choices affect others, and by following rules designed to protect everyone, we can help create a school environment where everyone feels valued and secure. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Alex Virgil, and I am speaking for not only myself, but for my peers who don't feel safe enough to participate as well. I would like to first thank you all for the opportunity to speak, and secondly, I would like to add how extremely disappointed and disgusted I am in my community to allow such bullying, harassment, hate, and bigotry to take place on school grounds. As a woman at Richmond High School who uses the women's bathroom, I ask that you hear my perspective. I am not uncomfortable or afraid to use the bathroom with someone who is transgender. The only thing more powerful than hate is love. Thank you.
Robert, is it Robert Ventura? Would be next on deck at this microphone. And Juan, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Juan Rivera. I go by Johnny. So good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I am a father of 2 children in the school district. This is our first year here in Richmond. In the beginning, things seemed smooth until now. When I first heard that students were planning a protest, I wanted to understand why. My son called me and explained that it was regarding boys being allowed to use the girls' restroom. When I heard that, my heart dropped. I was told that as long as someone identifies as gender, they are allowed to use the restroom. To me, this is not complicated. There are 2 genders. You are born with one, and that reality does not change. God created male and female, both beautifully and distinctively, and both deserve respect as they were created. This is not meant to attack or shame children who identify as transgender. My heart truly goes out to them. What concerns me is the effect that has on the other children who do know who they are and are now being made uncomfortable or fearful in spaces that should feel safe. A biological male in a female restroom or locker room creates confusion and distress. addressed, and I want you to know that this has placed real fear in my own child. I'm going to share a personal text message between me and my daughter. She tells me, "Can I skip gym?" I said, "Why?" "I don't want any boys walking in there while I'm changing." I said, "Are they doing that right now?" She goes, "No, I'm in 9th hour, but I have gym in 10th. I said, "Yes, that's fine. Would I contact the office?" She puts yes. Now, when I hear this from my daughter, Daddy comes. I'm here to protect my child. I'm here to protect my baby. Now, this should not be a complicated issue. It does not require extreme measures or ideology. It requires common sense and the protection of boundaries. Children are struggling with identity. They are not mistakes. They are not in the wrong body. They need wisdom, loving support, and guidance, not reinforcement and confusion. Not prioritizing one group in a way that harms another. Please understand this clearly. I'm here to protect my children. There is no situation where my daughter will change in front of a biological male, whether at home, in public, or any school system. Everywhere else in society.
You have 30 seconds.
My voice will not go away. A father protects, and I will not stay silent while this continues. If these concerns are not taken seriously, families will leave the district. My two children first. This is not said to confuse anyone, but it is to resolve. Thank you.
Amy Undead, students, and Trevor Swanson.
Yes, sir, you got it. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Dominic Ventura. I come to you today in my personal capacity as a father and a resident of the district of Richmond. I carry with me a message from Congressional Representative Tom Tippett. I want you to know that he would normally be here today, but he is a father of 3 daughters, and as a member of Congress representing New Richmond here in the 7th Congressional District, he must unfortunately be in D.C. to represent us for votes in Congress. I want you to know, as his constituent, he is urging the school district of New Richmond to reverse this policy. Our daughters should feel safe and treated with dignity here in Wisconsin. We must uphold the original intent of Title IX, which was created to protect equal opportunity for women and girls. Yet some are now claiming that Title IX requires schools to prioritize gender identity instead of biological sex. That is simply not true. Federal leadership under President Donald Trump has made it clear that these policies will not be tolerated. The administration has already taken action against 5 Virginia school districts for allowing students to access sex-segregated facilities based on subjective gender ideology, which they are saying violates the sex-based protections of Title IX. We do not want New Richmond to end up in the same situation. We simply want common sense restored and female students protected. Thank you for allowing me to speak on his behalf. I hope the concerns of parents, students, and Congressman Tiffany are heard loud and clear that the New Richmond School District should do what is right and reverse this policy immediately, because it does not reflect Wisconsin values. Thank you. This is from Tom Tiffany. That stands here as a father of a daughter should be ashamed of themselves. And I look forward to organizing the community against you as you come up to your next election. Thank you.
No skin in the game.
Jamie?
Hey, I'm a senior at the high school. I've been going here for 4 years, 3 years at the middle school, so on. So until the last school board meeting, I never really heard about the whole issue of transgender people in the bathrooms.
You got it. You got it.
Why is this coming up now? That's my question. This has been happening for 4 years, and there hasn't been a complaint about it. I have not heard anything about transgender students in the bathrooms for 4 years. I have friends who are transgender who use the bathroom and have had no complaints about against them for 4 years. To make the assumption that transgender students would engage in inappropriate behavior in the bathrooms is a prejudice that does not deserve to be put against a child. No issues with transgender students in the bathroom so far. And if there are, they should be dealt with on an individual basis like it would be with a cisgender student in their bathroom. And on the topic of legislating morality, which I hope we are not doing because we are a nation built with religious values but not on religious law, we remember, I'll give you a little history lesson, in the 1800s, they used this idea called the sons of Ham. It's in Genesis, you can look it up. They said that the sons of Ham, whose descendants moved to Africa, were less smart than the other sons of Abraham, who moved to other parts of the globe. That was in the Bible, and they used that to justify slavery. They used that to justify the fact that they were turning people into slaves, that they were denying them their rights. So while the Bible may be infallible, your interpretation of it is not. Thank you.
And then, is it Hunter Childs or something like that? On deck? Go ahead.
Good evening, my name is Curtis Swanson, and I am a parent of several students in this district. I want to respectfully urge the board not to continue a policy allowing access to bathrooms and bathrooms based on any distinction beyond biological sex. Because the legal, medical, and regulatory landscape remains unstable, politically driven, and increasingly subject to reversal, creating unnecessary risk for students and the district. First, Title IX has not changed in any relevant way since 1972. It prohibits sex discrimination, but explicitly allows schools to maintain separate bathrooms and locker rooms for the sexes. What has changed repeatedly are federal agency interpretations, expanding under one administration, retracting under another, and expanding again, often without congressional action, and most recently, they are being retracted. Courts have not resolved this uncertainty. Second, the broader legal environment surrounding gender-related decisions for minors is also shifting. Recently, a New York jury returned a multi-million-dollar verdict in favor of a young woman who underwent irreversible transition-related mutilation surgery as a minor individual so that she was born. The case turned on the issue of standards of care and informed consent. Regardless of one's views, it shows that courts are increasingly willing to scrutinize irreversible decisions related to minors, even if those decisions were previously misrepresented as settled or unquestionable. In parallel, professional medical guidance is evolving. While there is not a uniform consensus, major medical organizations, including leading surgical associations, have publicly urged greater caution and delayed irreversible transition-related mutilation surgeries for minors, citing limited long-term evidence and the permanent detrimental effects they have on children and adults. That sickness that was once treated as settled practice is now openly debated. Third, at the state level, Wisconsin legislators continue to debate bills addressing sex-segregated facilities, parental rights, and protections for minors. While not all proposals have become law, their very existence reflects that public policy in this area is unsettled and contested, not resolved. Districts that lock themselves in permanent policies today may find those policies on the step of state law tomorrow. Finally, this board has two core duties: to protect children, including their privacy and intimate spaces, and to limit their legal liability for the district. Both duties counsel caution. The district can support students with dignity through less intrusive alternatives. I respectfully ask the board to choose an approach that protects all students while minimizing legal risk in an environment where the law, medical standards, and public policy are clearly still in flux, and indeed returning to sanity. Please do not fall on the wrong side of that one.
Thank you. On deck, I have, is it Ace? Ace and Travis Helen. And Hunter, you're up.
Before I begin, I would like, could you, instead of saying 30 seconds, just hold your hand up on the
Absolutely.
Thank you. I would just like to begin with Luke 17, 1 through 2. Jesus said to his disciples, "Things that cause people to stumble are bound to come. But woe to anything through whom they come. It would be better for them to be thrown into the sea with a millstone tied around their neck than to cause one of these little ones to stumble." The new Richmond school board made headlines last week because administration and staff are reportedly allowing biological boys into girls' restrooms, leading to backlash from parents as well as our Congressman Tom Tiffany and Representative Rob Kryvak publicly condemning this utter insanity. It is truly incomprehensible to anyone mentally confused and unstable boys and girls' private restrooms, and second, to then double down on the insanity by requiring girls who express feeling justifiably victimized and traumatized by the sexual perverse inversion of reality to use a different individual restroom. The inability or refusal of those in authority to comprehend this situation and to make rational and logical decisions based in reality is the direct result of progressive ideology, placing their own warped desires and twisted version of morality above God's. These children, both boys and girls, are not to blame. They are victims of this perverse political ideology. The children who suffer from gender dysphoria, or however it's spelled, should not be encouraged to hate their own bodies, but should be counseled and corrected to love their bodies. Counseled and corrected to love their bodies. It is truly evil for adults in positions of authority to conduct these devastating experiments on our precious children, potentially leading to a lifetime of irreparable mental health and physical harm. As Jesus famously said, it would be better for them to be thrown into the sea with a millstone tied around their neck than to cause one of these little ones to stumble. It's time for New Richmond residents to put an end to this perversion and insanity. And progressive policies are dangerous enough for adults, but are absolutely devastating for our children. We can't take that chance, and we must all do what we can to protect them by helping elect God-fearing Christian conservatives on our school board, but we can't do it alone. It will take every single Christian in New Richmond, Wisconsin, and the state who steps foot in church on Sunday to pray to also step foot in our town hall on Tuesday to vote. Let's elect proven Christian conservative Christy Westland, and let's make New Richmond.
Alright, hi, my name is Ace, and I am the scary transgender that you all fear. I go by gender pronouns. I'm a freshman at New Richmond High School, and personally, I don't think I'm something to be feared. I go into the female bathroom because I'm too scared to go into the men's. Because I fear that if I go into the men's bathroom, I will be physically assaulted for being who I am. Being transgender is not a choice. Identifying that way is. You can say, yeah, I choose to go by gender pronouns. But I don't know how to say this. Being transgender is a feeling. I personally don't think I should be punished, so to speak, for a feeling. Also, I'd like to say that some of these things that have been said today are really hurtful to me and members of my community. Just in case you guys don't really realize how harmful this is, I'd like to pull some statistics. In 2025, 81% of transgender people considered suicide, and 41% committed it. I'm a part of that 81%. I recently got hospitalized because my mental health got really, really bad. And it is because I have people like, I don't know, I don't want to point fingers, but just, I
telling me that I was not correct for being myself, and that I should go die for being who I am. And it got to the point where I enlisted. And I just want to say that if you all want to protect children, go ahead. I implore that. Protest, call these school board meetings, do this, do that. But do it with all children in mind, not just yours. That's all I have to say.
On deck next, and Travis, go ahead.
Thank you. I have 5 children in this district, and I just wanted to say thank you for the time here tonight. This is the first school board meeting that I've been to. It's the only one that I felt like I needed to be here for. I'm not here to be popular. I'm not here to be comfortable. I am here because the children of this district deserve adults who will stand up and do what is right, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. We were told earlier tonight that case law has settled this question, that federal courts have spoken, and we must simply comply. But I want to ask every person in this room a simple question. Since when did a court ruling replace your conscience? Amen. There was a time in this country when the law said human beings could be property. There was a time when the law said children could work in factories. There was a time when the law said women cannot vote. Every single one of those laws was wrong, and it took men and women of conviction, people of faith and courage to stand against them. We are not called to blind obedience to every ruling that comes down from the courtroom. We are called to protect children. Okay? This is a law. This is a law not written by judges, but by God Himself, and no one can deny it. No one. Let me be thinking about what we're discussing tonight. We are talking about whether biological males should be in restrooms and locker rooms with our daughters. Spaces where girls are undressing. Spaces where they are vulnerable. Spaces that exist precisely because we have always understood that privacy and safety of children comes first. This is not complicated. Every parent in this room knows it, every mother knows it, every father knows it. You do not need a law degree to understand that our girls deserve privacy and protection. And yet we are told we must set aside common sense, set aside parental instinct, set aside biology itself because the court said so. I reject that, and you should reject it too. There is a saying that has proven true throughout history. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. We are living in the hard times that weak leadership has created. And I'm looking at there, okay? Weak leadership. Thank you, Ben. For too long, school boards across the state and this country have taken the path of least resistance. They've been afraid of lawsuits, afraid of headlines, afraid of being called names. And so they surrendered, not because it was late, but because it was easy. That can end here tonight. This board can choose to answer to the parents and children of this community. Yes, there may be legal challenges. Yes, there may be costs. But I ask you, what's the cost of doing nothing? Do you want to look mothers in the eyes? Okay? Do you see this room? Do you see the support behind this? Scripture tells us in Isaiah 1:17, learn to do what is right, seek justice, defend the oppressed. Our children are not political pawns. They are not social experiments. So I'm asking this board tonight, be the strong men this moment demands. 10 seconds. Vote to protect the privacy and safety of every child in this district. Vote to uphold biological reality in our restrooms and locker rooms. Vote to do the right thing, not the easy thing. Because when your children and grandchildren ask you where you stood when it mattered, and they will ask, you will be able to look them in the eye and say, I stood for you.
That's not making me feel safe.
On deck is Michelle Brooks. Michelle Brooks. Tim Holden.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. Tim Holden from Richmond here. And I just like to thank Mr. Engelhardt for standing up for what's right. Thank you for your moral fiber. Thank you for all along. And early in the counselors, when he was bringing up Title IX and talking about it, Father got up and left early and said, "I heard enough. I'm going to homeschool." And that's the truth. It was right in here. What's the place of our daughters and our granddaughters? I have granddaughters. I have grandchildren in western Wisconsin. And it just amazes me that our country's come to this point. And I would like to say to the transgender children here, I don't hate you. We're all God's creation.
You're out of our place. Nothing offensive, just state your position.
We're all God's creation, and that doesn't mean I agree with what the white wolves have been superimposing on our children nationwide, and it's everywhere. And so I asked the board to stand up for what's right. And again, I thank Mr. Engelhardt for the backbone he has. And you're all God's creation, and He offered us all a way out. And some of you heard John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life." So our Creator has offered us a way out through the Savior, Jesus Christ. Acts 4:12, "Neither is salvation in any other, for there is no other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved." Jesus said in John 14:6, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come unto the Father but by me." Ephesians 2:8-9, "For by grace you are saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it's a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast." Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this opportunity to bring glory to your Son.
Eric Peterson and Lydia Melby Under. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Eric Peterson. I'm the father of two children, young children in this district who stand to potentially be here for many more years. Regarding Title IX from 1972 and the Seventh Circuit finding in 2017, words mean what the author meant for them to mean, not what some activist judges claim they mean based on the political environment 45 years later. Also, judges don't write or make laws. They only give oftentimes bad opinions on the laws to be passed by the legislative and executive branches. I'm here to fight for our daughters, our sisters, and every young girl in the district who deserves safety, privacy, and respect in the most basic spaces, bathrooms and locker rooms. The madness of allowing boys in dresses to waltz into girls' facilities has got to stop. Right now, no more excuses, no more virtue signaling, no more hiding behind reckless policies that put our kids at risk. Biological reality does not bend. A boy in a dress is still a boy. Chromosomes, anatomy, strength, none of that changes with a wardrobe swap or pronoun preferences. We're talking about spaces designed for girls where they can use the toilet, change, shower, and feel secure without the intrusion of male bodies. This is about hard facts. Our girls shouldn't have to undress in front of someone with male physiology, just because a tiny minority demands it over science and biology. and you're stripping it away from half of our students to appease a tiny minority. How dare you? Your job is to protect all students, not sacrifice girls on the altar of leftist virtue signaling. If a boy feels uncomfortable in the boys' bathroom or locker room, he can be the one to use the single stall option. Board members, I challenge you, look at these parents in the eye. Look at these girls in this room. Are you willing to tell them that their safety is secondary, that their boundaries are negotiable? If you vote to allow this, you're complicit in every single violation of dignity and possibly worse that follows. Stand up for what's right. Ban the boys from girls' bathrooms and locker rooms, dresses or no dresses. Restore sanity, protect our kids, or step aside and let real leaders who actually have children in these schools and skin in the game take over.
Ryan, Sherry, contact.
Hello, my name is Lydia. First of all, I want to thank all of the school board members for being here and taking time out of your day, all of the staff. We're all here. I see some police officers, all of the parents and students. The second thing I want to say is I'm very proud of all the queer students, all the trans students who have spoken up against grown adults who are attacking them just for being themselves. I think all the adults in this room need to have a reminder that these are children we're speaking about. Children. Online over children has been insane. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration. That a lot of the students being targeted are not the cis students. They are the trans students. They are the queer students. Another thing is, Ben, you have done a great job speaking out tonight, making sure that your opinion is known, but you also disrespected the people who have been talking and you've been sitting on your phone. The last thing I'm going to say is that there's a separation between church and school. And I have all respect for you guys who are using your religion and speaking up, but that's not the same as school. The law does not follow the Bible.
Let her finish.
The law does not follow the Bible, and I think that needs to be something that's remembered, even if you are religious. Follow the law, not what the public is attacking you to follow. It's the law. We, the taxpayers, are going to be harmed if you guys hear something.
Let her finish!
I think doing what's best for all students. It's understandable when girls are uncomfortable, but there are other students, such as trans students, who are going to be attacked. And I think you guys need to protect everyone in this situation and think about everyone. Thank you.
On this side. Good, Ryan?
Yes, I'm Ryan Shirley, County Board Representative for District 15 right here in Richmond. As an elected official myself, it takes a lot for me to stand at a podium or a mic like this and tell another governing body how I believe an issue should be handled. I understand the pressure that you're under, and I generally believe that constituents should be heard rather than overridden and disregarded. However, there are moments when remaining silent is not responsible leadership. This is one of them. I want to begin by clearly separating what truth and fact are. A person's truth reflects how they feel about an issue or their perception of that issue. Those feelings may vary from person to person, and they may change. Facts do not. Facts are fixed, and the law is built on facts, not feelings. The relevant facts before this board are straightforward. First, a biological male is using a girls' locker room. Second, the school district is allowing this to occur. Third, students have expressed discomfort and concern about this arrangement. And fourth, biological sex is immutable. Beliefs or identity do not change biological reality. Those are not opinions. Those are not expressions of fear. They are factual conditions that exist today. Title IX permits sex-separated locker rooms for privacy and safety. But Title IX is not a one-directional entitlement. It is a balancing obligation. Protecting one student cannot require violating the privacy rights of others, and the board has legal responsibility to provide a line very clearly. Public education exists to prepare students for the real world. That is not a philosophical debate, it's a foundational purpose of the system. The real world operates on objective standards, definitions, and boundaries. When institutions abandon those in favor of accommodating feelings, they do not protect students, they mislead them. Wisconsin DPI and the governor are also misleading you. If a student sincerely but incorrectly believes that they're the valedictorian of the school, or the starting quarterback, would we not rewrite the rules to accommodate their beliefs? We would explain reality, set the boundaries, and help them navigate it. This situation is no different. What concerns me most is not a single incident, it's the pattern it reflects. This board appears to be reacting instead of leading. Policies are not shaped by fear of litigation, pressure from outside agencies, rather than intentional forward-looking governance. I urge this board to stop acting as reactionary firefighters and start acting as leaders. Establish clear, fact-based policies. If you do not agree with all of this, I will happily help Dominic find your replacement.
Next, we have Jessica Gatlin.
I thought it was Jocelyn.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, on deck.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Jessica Gatlin on deck and Kaylee Kaler on deck. Go ahead.
I want to first and foremost state that I am not here to place blame. I am here as a mom speaking up for all kids, one way or another, regardless of how I explain. What I am asking you that has not been put forth before you guys today is, have you guys done the statistics to the single stall bathrooms compared to the amount of females or males that are going to need that? Because my issue with this is, it's still creating separation. You guys could have thought 12 steps ahead, as I was taught how to do. You have your plan B, you have your plan C, you have your plan D. You go forward with that. You always have a backup plan. And right now, what you're doing is, right now, for the last update that I had, there are about 40 girls deep in the high school for the single stall bathroom. So now, what is that doing to their time learning in the classroom? And how is that going to affect them when it comes to being educated? I don't care. Your parents have the right to choose, but you guys stripped that, minus you, Ben, you guys stripped that of us. Because we didn't even have the forefront of knowing that you guys were actively going for this. And now, mind you, I am proud of all of the kiddos that stood up tonight. And one of them is very directed into my kids' individual lives out of life circumstances. And I am very proud of them for standing up. I am not that small of a human being. I am proud of them. But what I am not proud of is that you guys didn't give us the damn right to know when we are going to be having to have sex ed talks with our very young children, or having to have the privacy talks but now having to curb that because there is no longer privacy. From what I have understood, it is an isolated group of kids, and I don't want them to be isolated, but it is a smaller group of kids compared to, do the statistics. I want the numbers. What is the ratio for this single stall bathroom? You can clearly see there are a lot of parents that are not happy with this. What is the ratio? I don't want that. I don't want to have conversations with my children before they're old enough to understand, before they're cognitively capable of understanding it.
Do we have Jessica Gadman? Kaylee Colcaler? Ari, is it Dianastopoulos? And on deck would be Chad Mostrom? Or to this member? Yes?
Hi, my name is Ari Dianastopoulos, for those of you who are wondering. I'm a parent within the Richmond School District. I have a child in the high school, one in the middle school, and one in Hillside Elementary. I want to express my support for the current policies that you guys have to support non-discrimination and gender-inclusive bathroom usage. This is really appeared to be an emotional topic for many, including myself. Parents are worried about safety. My middle school daughter did come home and she asked me about this conversation, and she said, I know. And so I did what I do whenever my kids tell me I know. I centered them on the facts. I said, how many times are you in the bathroom and people don't have their clothes on? Well, never. I centered them on some of the statistics that you guys have heard. Every major study shows that gender-inclusive bathroom policies do not increase assaults or safety incidents for girls. Not one. There haven't been documented incidents after these policies go into place that voyeurism, people peeping into these bathrooms goes up. That doesn't happen. But what has been documented, when schools restrict bathroom access, transgender students are the ones who are harmed. They face higher risk of bullying, harassment, and even physical assault. So I talked to her, and we talked about our goals, and we talked about our values. If our goal is safety, the evidence is clear. Inclusive policies protect all students, and exclusion puts some of them at risk. We don't have to choose between protecting girls and supporting transgender students. We don't. The evidence shows we can do both. Inclusive policies keep everyone safe, and they reflect the kind of community I want my kids growing up in. The other thing that happens is that non-Christian, liberal family in this district, my kids come home all the time. They come home and they tell me, I heard this at school. This doesn't match what I believe. Hey, they said this. And I look at them and I say, the world's full of people that think differently than us. But here in our family, this is what we believe. That's my responsibility. That's not your responsibility. Thank you.
Chad. Chad. Billy Starboard. And Trent Simons and
How you doing? My name is Billy Starboard. I'm pastor at Cornerstone Church. The fundamental question is, whose discomfort are we prioritizing, and what are the stakes? When we allow males in girls' locker rooms, we're asking girls to surrender their privacy and sense of safety. In the most vulnerable moments, the discomfort a transgender student may feel using facilities matching their biological sex doesn't override the privacy rights of all girls who didn't choose that situation. We can show compassion without eliminating sex-based spaces and exist specifically to protect privacy and dignity. You may hear the objection that this will discriminate against transgender students. Providing sex-based facilities isn't discrimination, it's a combination that respects everyone's needs. There's no difference in or safety, no evidence of safety issues. Well, the concern isn't just a documented incident. It's about the principle that girls deserve privacy from the opposite sex during changing, regardless of how that person identifies. You've heard that maybe we're transphobic. Protecting girls' privacy rights isn't about any animus towards anyone. It's about maintaining boundaries that serve important purposes. We're asking 100% of these girls to give up their privacy to accommodate a very small percentage of students. We can respect everyone's dignity without forcing girls to accept what makes them uncomfortable. And once we've established that self-identification grants access to opposite sex facilities, how do we enforce any boundaries? What's your policy when a girl feels unsafe? Do we tell her she's wrong to feel that way? We're creating a situation where girls can't advocate for their own comfort without being labeled as bigots. Adolescence is already difficult. Girls are navigating body changes, self-consciousness, and vulnerability. Locker rooms exist as sex-separated spaces precisely because of these developmental realities. And we can acknowledge that some of these students experience gender dysphoria while also acknowledging that most girls aren't comfortable undressing around males. My question to you, because it seems like we're talking on both sides of our mouth, sex and gender, but we say one's important and one's not. We also say that, hey, we're following federal law, but we're also following Title IX, which is separate and different. What's your policy if you say we don't know students who are transgender going into the locker rooms, and then how are you not going to give that information out? Thank you.
Thompson is on deck, and Trent.
All right. Hello, my name is Trent Sack, and I have two kids attending Richmond High School. One boy and one girl. I have coached in the homeless community and sat on the board of the local volleyball club. I care deeply about the children in this community. I want to be clear that this issue to me is not political. It is not about being transphobic or about hate or a witch hunt. This is about comfortability for our children. As our about children's feelings and being comfortable in a space that's supposed to be designated to them, their bathroom and their locker rooms. I can tell you that my daughter is not comfortable sharing a female bathroom with a male student, giving up her privacy and dignity. When this concern was brought up to the high school principal by my wife in November of 2025, we were told that if she was not comfortable with this, she could go to the office and use the single stall bathroom, and the office would provide her with a pass so she was not marked part of her class. Let me tell you about my daughter. She is in the top 15% of her class. She takes her education and GPA extremely seriously because she knows it's about to get her to the college that she wants, and will directly affect the amount of scholarship money she made to attend that college. She is scared to be targeted in class, and she does not want to miss anything that could affect her grades, nor does she want to disrupt the class. For this reason, she does not want to be displaced and have to walk further from her classes to go use a single stall bathroom in the office and be late for class. Instead, she is being forced to share a female bathroom with a male student, making her anxious and uncomfortable to protect her education. That is not right. This is not what the purpose of Title IX is. Male parts use male bathroom, female parts use female bathroom. There is no purpose for not feel comfortable in your biological sex bathroom. This is an example of what the single stall bathroom should be used for. Again, this should be the option for a select few, not the entire population of girls. This is common sense. Common sense does not displace the entire population of female students, asking them to use the few single stall bathrooms if they are uncomfortable sharing a bathroom with the opposite sex. Common sense does not mean an entire population of female students who don't want to share a bathroom with a male risk being late to class, losing educational minutes by displacing them to a single stall bathroom in the office that was never made for them. Stop telling our doctors, if you don't like it, use a single stall. That is not equality. That's displacement. We are being told by our district superintendent that all the area schools are following these same guidelines and rules. If that is true, let's be the first district in the area to change what is right. In order to adopt a policy that protects our girls' privacy and handles accommodations respectfully, and to put this policy in writing. Let's roll the dice.
Wayne Thompson, no. Randall Baxter.
Thank you. I am extremely disappointed in this board's ability to communicate with the public. As a prior public servant for over a decade, I haven't seen such an unmitigated disaster. The moment that the school made the policy what it is now, they should have sent an email out to parents advising them of the policy. There was no need to identify that there was a transgender student or students that it was applying to. What the policy is, so us as parents are prepared to talk to our children and let them know what they're going to be seeing and dealing with at school. For that reason, I wouldn't get very comfortable in those chairs for very long. With this amateur, small-town BS, and it's going to see you out of here, and we're going to have parents on the board that are going to communicate and handle things like professionals would.
On deck is Christy Wilson for that motion.
All right.
Hi, my name is Pat Breslin. I've got two daughters. One is in high school right now. I'm going to say this plainly, because plain truth is what's missing here. This issue is not complicated. It has been made complicated on purpose. The case everyone keeps hiding behind, Whitaker versus Kenosha Unified School District, was not a triumph of civil rights. It was a failure of judgment. Title IX was passed to protect girls, real biological girls, from discrimination, exposure, and from being forced to sacrifice privacy so adults could feel progressive. The law is explicit. Sex-separated bathrooms and locker rooms are allowed. The court did not interpret the law. It rewrote it. They took the word sex, which has meant biological sex for all of human history, and replaced it with identity. Congress didn't do that. Voters didn't do that. Parents didn't do that. 3 judges did. This is not law. This is power without consent. And let's talk about what the court ignored. Girls' privacy was called speculative. Their discomfort was brushed aside. Their right to say no was never even discussed. But the feelings of one student were treated as absolute. So absolute that every other student was expected to silently comply. That is not equality. That is coercion. This isn't about bathrooms. This isn't about bathrooms. Bathrooms are stalls. This is about locker rooms, where girls change clothes, where bodies are exposed, where minors are vulnerable. High schools contain children And they are also legal adults in some cases. So you're mixing minors with legal adults, forcing girls to undress in the presence of males, regardless of identity, crosses a line that should never have been crossed. There is no middle ground on bodily privacy. We are told single-user facilities are stigmatizing. That is nonsense. Privacy is not punishment. Accommodation is not discrimination, and protecting girls is not hatred.
Heidi Fry, contact is Heidi Fry here. Yeah, back over to this microphone to the right, please.
Hi, I'm Christy Westland. I'm a mom of two in the district, and I'm running for the Richmond School Board. I need to say there are too many in the auditorium right now, and in the district in general, have been afraid to say out loud, privacy is not discrimination, and girls are not collateral damage. Title IX was written to protect women and girls. You need to stop pretending it was meant to erase the very boundaries it was created to defend. Right now, our district does not have a clear written policy for restrooms and locker rooms. When there's no policy, the loudest voices are the rules shift behind closed doors, and the students who feel vulnerable are told to just deal with it. That is not fairness, and it is not leadership. Adults need to be adults. Adults need to have courage for the kids. And what I'm saying is this: the kids have more courage than the adults. They're willing to walk out. They're willing to hold signs and say, this isn't right. They're asking simple, decency and common sense. Protect our privacy. So here is the policy we're asking you to adopt in plain English. And I'm happy to hand out if you would like. Girls' bathrooms and locker rooms are for biological females. Boys' bathrooms and locker rooms are for biological males. And if a trans-identifying student needs a different accommodation than that student can use one of the single-user private restrooms or changing options. There are several districts in Wisconsin that has adopted similar policy as proposed here, including Waukesha, New London, Elkhorn, Arrowhead, Germantown, and Cedarburg, to name a few. Dignity without forcing girls to surrender theirs. End the burden shifting where girls are told to relocate, wait longer, and risk their health and their education just to feel safe. So I'll ask you plainly, will you protect the girls? Remember, they're watching. Because if you don't have the courage to protect our girls' privacy, you don't deserve to be on that stage.
With age, we are cursed with perspective. I think a lot of us in this room can relate to that curse. I learned that perspective many of us held about this district's ability to protect our children is no longer reality. Last week, I discovered that this district has no written bathroom policy at all. None. You are relying on unclear interpretations of case law, ignoring Title IX, and offer no straightforward guidance. But there's truth. Here's the truth. Without a clear policy, you place this district at legal risk from every side. This is a national issue, so there will be no room to pick gray area. It's pretty clear tonight that this room is a bit divided, and it's not intentional, and I don't think it should have to be divided. If this board would have put in place strong guidelines to begin with, and communicated with the community to begin with, we wouldn't be sitting in a divided state that we are in today. I don't care what their choice is, but what I do care is about my children. And until they're 18 years of age, I want to make sure that my children will be using a bathroom that is filled with the same sex. There's nothing wrong with it. It just makes me a mother. Enough to protect her rights and the rights of every other girl in this room and every daughter to come and every granddaughter. It's pretty clear that this inconsistency with the written restroom policy has caused a rift in our community that should not be here. But if there's one thing I learned tonight, it was that law is what's guiding this board. And so if that's what's guiding this board, then I would like to tell the board if any parent with a daughter affected by this would like to seek legal representation, we will have sign-ups in the back.
Hector, over to the next, yes, we've got Nikki, right?
Yep, Nikki Driscoll. I'm here tonight as a parent. My daughter is 15 years old. This year, she has repeatedly encountered an older male student using the restroom designated for freshman girls. I'm here to speak about what that has meant for her and what it means for the safety, privacy, and dignity of young female students in this school. My daughter is uncomfortable. She feels unsafe. I want you to see this through her eyes. Imagine being 14 or 15 years old. You're still trying to figure out who you are. You're intensely aware of your body, how it's changing, how it's perceived. The school restroom is one of the only places during the day that feels private. It's where you check your reflection because you feel self-conscious, where you manage your period and hope no one hears, where you calm anxiety, cry quietly, or take a breath before returning to class. It's not just a bathroom, it's a refuge. Now imagine being alone in that space when a male enters the room. How do you think she might feel? Even if he doesn't say or do anything, her body reacts before her mind can even reason it away. Her muscles tense, heart rate changes, she becomes hyper-aware of where she is and how quickly she could leave. That reaction is not irrational, it's instinct. At 15, you're still a child. When an older, stronger student enters a space where you're vulnerable, changing clothes, managing menstruation, or just trying to compose yourself, there's an inherent power imbalance. And power imbalance creates fear and anxiety. Safety is not just about whether an incident occurs, it's about whether a child feels secure enough to let their guard down. And in that moment, my daughter does not. And yet she says nothing. Not because she's fine, but because she's afraid. Afraid of being labeled rude, dramatic, being mocked and targeted. Afraid that her discomfort does not matter. And that should concern every adult in this room. Our school policies and procedures are teaching our daughters a dangerous lesson. That if they're uncomfortable, they should stay quiet. That if something feels wrong, they should just tolerate it. And that their boundaries are negotiable. And that their safety comes second to making someone else comfortable. As her parent, I cannot teach her to advocate for herself if the institution entrusted with her care is teaching her that her boundaries don't matter. I want her to grow into a confident young woman who knows that her voice matters, her privacy matters, and that she never has to surrender her sense of safety to peace. Girls deserve separate sex restrooms and locker rooms, full stop. Privacy and safety during vulnerable moments matter. Single-stall alternatives protect everyone without displacing girls. I am standing here tonight to model exactly what I want my daughter to learn, the courage to advocate for herself and for what is right, even when it's uncomfortable. I urge you to re-examine your policy and procedure and adopt solutions that protect all students without placing a burden on our girls.
have Mariah Hellerson up next. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hector Medina. I'm a father of 7. I have 4 kids here in the Richmond School District, right? This was brought up to us probably about a week or 2 ago. I guess when everybody else found out. Me and my family, my kids brought it up to me, and my daughter, she's young. I have an 8-year-old daughter in the elementary school. As a father, right, I come as a concerned father. But I know when I was a little bit younger and my kids were ready to come and I said, what would I ever do if something happened to my kid? What would I ever do if a man or somebody did something to one of my kids? I tried to put that away. That's about it. I don't want to think about it. I didn't want to linger it. As right now, when we took the 10-minute break, I went to the restroom, right? I go to the restroom, I said, in the restroom real quick. As I go in there, and I'm in the restroom, I use the restroom, the manager, I can just imagine if my daughter was in there and were to see something. How would you feel? If you're in a restroom or your wife or your daughter, somebody's in the restroom and they go see a man go in there and pull out and do whatever they're doing. Yes, I'm not saying that I'm not talking about other community, I'm not saying that they're going to go do something to them, but what if they see a glance or something? This is when we stand up, guys. We can't be pushed over. We can't just let people come over here and say, you know what? My family, I'm not condemning nobody. I love everybody, but I come to you as a man. What decision are you going to come to today? When I came in this room today and I heard the Lord right here speaking, it was pretty much telling me this is what's going to happen, guys. This is what's going to happen, and this is what they're giving me excuses to why this is we're going to have be held accountable for everything we do in this life. And this is where the change comes. What are you going to do? You're going to just stand and let this happen? Ben, bro, I give it up to you. I understand it's hard. As a man and a concerned father, think about the right decision, man. What's right? That's all I got. God bless you.
Nikki, is it Barack on deck? I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. It's
Maria.
Maria, gotcha.
That's okay. Hi, I'm Maria Hellerson, and I am a parent of a 9th grade boy at the high school. First, I want to name the dignity of every Richmond high school student. Each student has profound worth. And each student is unique, unrepeatable, irreplaceable, and an important gift to our community. And so is every family and every voice that we heard tonight. With this truth, each student must be treated with dignity and respect, love, and taken care of. With that said, we have a scenario where my son and Randy are living out their God-given biological sex as a male and a female in the Richmond High School. This is true of the majority of the students in the school. However, it is not true of all the students, and we must be sensitive to their lived experiences as well. So the question then is, how do we meet every student where they're at? For most students, it's easy. Biological males who identify as male go in the men's bathroom, and biological females who identify as female go in the women's bathroom. There are very few students, but there are some who are biological males who wish to identify as female and vice versa. I don't know how many, and I cannot speak for these students as I don't know them. But the fact that they're using the opposite gender locker room makes it very obvious that they're not comfortable in their same gender bathroom. So, as I first considered this scenario, it made sense to me to advocate for an expectation that students who use the bathroom that matches their biological sex, but that doesn't make sense. Upon talking with my son, who was a 9th grader, he expressed concern that should a biological male identifying as transgender, having perhaps sexual interest in males, enter the men's bathroom and see my son using a urinal that is not private, there is a possibility this transgender student could be lustfully looking at him, and he could be uncomfortable. And this idea makes him feel uncomfortable. While he didn't express anything further, evidence
Travis Catlin. On deck, that's Travis. Kate Avery on deck. She here? Okay. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Nikki Bocock, not Barack, Bocock. That's my name. Between my husband and I, we have three boys, 2 girls, 3 of which are already in the school district right now. 2 have since passed the school district, thank goodness. I have a daughter in high school right now. And I would say she is very uncomfortable with the situation of having men in the women's bathroom and in the changing rooms. Now, can she handle herself in case something were physically trying, some male would try to physically handle her? Yeah, she could probably handle anybody in this room. However, mentally, how does she feel when there's a man in the bathroom with her? We were born male and female, period. Now, if you feel that you are not the appropriate one, I urge you to think about that, and that is your choice. If you feel the need to kill yourself, I would like you to look to God and to look for love. Because God made you the way you are, period. He brought you into this world, He loves you, and trying to go forward. Killing yourself is not what should happen. Now, I want you as board members to look my daughter in the eye and tell her that her being uncomfortable with a male in the bathroom with her is okay, and that her feelings don't matter. I want you to look her in the eye and tell her that. Because that's what you're doing right now. You're telling my daughter that the way she feels is inappropriate. Now, there's bullying going on both ways. Period. There are people in this room calling transgender people the wrong names and bullying them. It goes both ways. People in this room are calling my daughter a Republican snowflake. They are calling her names. They are bullying her for standing up for her beliefs. That is also wrong. We as adults in this room and in this community need to stand up and do what is right for the children that are here. I know I have 30 seconds. This is not about God. This is about our children. This is about keeping them safe mentally and physically. Do what is right for the children. If there are people that identify something different than what they were born, give them a safe space to do it. Leave my daughter alone and leave the men alone.
We're going to have Peter Arolis. All right. Daniel Fagan. Daniel. And I'm sorry, we've got Scott Harron on the Go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Darren. I've never been to a school board meeting here in this town, came from Somerset, and when I came to Richmond, I was very grateful for the inclusivity and diversity and the beautiful arts, performing arts that you guys are lucky to have. I hear you making noise everywhere. It's really telling to me the place we're at. I'm so sorry about the last meeting you guys had to endure because I was listening to people call kids disgusting and very inappropriate things. These are children, and you can say, I'm not a transphobe, that's great, but then don't act like it, please. I would like the gentleman that was next to me saying that the lady who was speaking on the law, asking if her gender was appropriate, that was also inappropriate. I just really think we need to call our neighbors to task when they act inappropriately You can have a stance and you can disagree, but what you cannot do is belittle the person next to you. I've had to tell a grown man to hush tonight. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me, and it should be embarrassing for all of us as a community. I did a little research on my own, and I went to, during conferences, to the office, and I asked where the single-use stalls are, how to locate them. I found out all the places they are in the building. I called the district office and also asked questions. They were a little buttoned up because I'm sure they have to be right now because people are using words against you guys, which is unfortunate. I know that everyone here wants what's best for their kids. I have 2 daughters. I have a soldier. I have a soldier in the Army, and she pees anywhere she can, I assure you. So making such a fuss about something so simple and making people feel bad about it, I'm sorry if your girls are uncomfortable. I might have raised mine a little tougher.
I'm Scott Heron, I'm a Richmond resident. I've had one son come through the high school and I've had another son in the school right now. My job affords me to know a little bit of history. I kept thinking about it over the past week. For those of you who aren't aware, there was a movement to keep women from voting and from schools because the idea was that God didn't mean them to be there. There was a movement to keep black people from being educated as white kids because according to the movement, God didn't want them to be there. There was a movement to keep homosexuals from school and, by the way, in bathrooms because God didn't mean them to be there. And I find it really ironic that so many people in this room are quoting Title IX and they probably forget that there was a huge movement against Title IX because that took money from boys. The bottom line is, and I appreciate the level-headed people in this room because there are common sense solutions here rather than the partisan extremism that we're hearing. I think that as a community and as a country, we are always best and remember ourselves best when we make room for the other. We try to include. We are at our worst when we try to exclude. My job doesn't really afford me much opportunity to talk about it, but since I'm here as a resident, I'm also a person of faith. And I'm glad that there's so many people here of faith. But it's interesting how much they want to talk about the laws of God and they forget his most important one. Love your neighbor as yourself. I don't remember the book talking about exceptions to that. I also know you can say it's not about hate. You can say it's about protecting, which all of those times in history were also said. Call it whatever you want and mask it however you want. The book says you know a tree by its fruit. The fruit has been ugly. And if you've been online, you see it. And if you talk to students, you see it. And students getting run out of school, you see it. That's not what we want the fruit to be. We all want to protect our kids. Protect them from judgment and hate. Protect them from bigotry. Thank you for your time.
Public comment is now concluded. I'm going to give the board a 10-minute recess. We've been here sitting here for 2 hours, and we'll reconvene here in 10 minutes. Thank you.